Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about, does your ex secretly care? Well, if you're going through a breakup, one of the first things you're probably thinking is that they don't care about me anymore. If they cared about me, how could they do this? And while that might not be your initial reaction because you're so shocked and you're desperately trying to reconnect with them, that's what happens immediately is like you're trying to beg, convince, give me another chance. I'll do anything to repair this with you. But after some time, you start to really process things, think about things, and you really start to think, do they even care about me? Because at this point, their behavior is probably kind of surprising to you, and they probably feel like a different person. I know when I was going through some of my breakups, it just felt like, how is this the same person? I don't even feel like this is the same person to me anymore. I don't even understand it. And so when you're looking at their behavior, it really feels like they don't care about you at all. And sometimes it even feels like they never cared about you. So I'm going to be talking about this because I know what that feels like. Right? When your ex is acting that way towards you and they just seem like a different person, it really makes you question how they felt the entire relationship. Like, did they ever really care? Did I ever really mean anything to them? Because the way they're treating me right now, it's like this person never cared about me. And so, you look at their behavior, right? How it looks to you or how they're come across to you. Many times they're cold. Okay, there's just ice cold. There's no warmth. You know what it feels like when somebody's warm towards you or caring. You could feel it. You can't necessarily articulate it, but you can feel it when somebody's being warm, when they're being caring, when they're being thoughtful, or, concerned about what your experience is or what you're going through. And so many times your ex looks like they don't care. They're cold, they're mean, they're snapping at you, they're short with their answers, their responses towards you are short in length. It's just very ice cold. They're taking a really long time to reply to you. And they have their guard up, right? They don't want to talk about what they're feeling. They don't want to talk about why they want the breakup. They don't want to give you reasons. And I mean, I've seen situations where people will just walk out, leave, and not talk to them, sometimes for 6 months, sometimes even more, and it's like out of nowhere. And so, obviously those are really unhealthy people to do that, to be so cruel and almost disconnected from their partner at that point. I just find it incredibly cruel and selfish to behave like that. But if you think about your behavior, particularly after the breakup, you're making a lot of bids to reconnect with them. You're trying to repair that connection, talking to them, begging, showing up at their place, grand gestures, handwritten letters, all of those things that so many people try and do. And as you can see, most of the time it makes things worse, right? And what happens with your ex? They get to a point that they want to shut things down. They don't want to talk to you. They feel like they have to be cruel to you to get you to leave them alone. Now, not everybody's going to act like this. Some people are kinder and more healthy, that they'll make more of an effort to help you understand. And I really appreciate those empathetic people in this world. But a lot of people are just so selfish at the breakup and so withdrawn that they just feel like they have to push you away. They've got to individuate from you. They have to detach. Okay? They can't process it with you. They can't explain to you. They can't help you understand what they're going through. They just have to detach from you in that moment and sever the connection. And it's incredibly painful when you're on the other end of that. Believe me, I know that feeling. It is horrible. And it makes you question everything like I talked about. But some people have to process that way. They can't process and explain to you. And quite frankly, if you've been pushing, if you're trying to get them to give you another chance, you're not respecting them, You're not respecting how they feel. And honestly, that's what most people are going through. They're trying to beg, change your mind. That other person looks very adamant and very stubborn. Now, if you considered your ex stubborn already, you're really going to see it in them now, because now they're going to double down on what they want, pushing you away, isolating you, severing the connection, all of these things, and not showing you any empathy or compassion. Now, more secure, healthy people can do that. They can show you some empathy. They can be understanding. They can try and explain things to you. And they'll set up some boundaries with you if you try and maybe push on them. But, if you're dealing with somebody who has attachment issues or more severe attachment issues, like an avoidant, right? They shut down and they just don't communicate, right? They don't let you know how they're feeling in a way that helps you understand them at all. And that's very frustrating for you, because you're like, I just want to understand, and I just want to feel like you care about me here. Like, are you even caring about me because of the way that you're acting? It feels like you don't at all. And a lot of times avoidance can't express to you, I care about you, but I need some space to figure this out for myself. I wish they could do that, because it would make breakups a lot easier to experience. But you're kind of wondering, based on their behavior, if they've ever cared about you. And, because they're not expressing, I loved what we had, but we've had these problems for so long and things aren't getting better, or whatever it is that they're frustrated with or, struggling with, they don't express it to you. So it comes out like a lack of care. And so you're wondering, well, they're going through this breakup. Do they even care? Well, to be honest with you, they probably do. Now, the bad news is they're not going to show you that. They're not going to tell you that. The walls are up. They're disappearing. They're not reaching out. You're not hearing from them for months at a time. But yes, they probably secretly do care. In most situations, even if they don't want to get back with you, they do secretly care. But if they express to you that they care, and if you're anxious, you're likely pushing them to tell them, or to tell you why they can't do this, or why can't they just give this another chance with you. And so you just have to understand that behind the scenes, in the beginning, it's easier for them when they've made their decision, because they feel that relief of, okay, I did it. I got this done. It was difficult. I was feeling, engulfed, smothered, trapped. I had to do it. Now they feel that sense of relief. But over time, they start to care more and more when you're not pressuring them. When they have to sit with the space, the anxiety, the uncertainty, losing you, feeling that loss, that is when they are able to sit with it a lot more, and when they're alone, and start looking at your social media, start looking at what you're doing, thinking about where you're at, maybe sometimes showing up at places you'll go, hoping that you'll talk to them. But you really want them to make an effort here to repair this, because it's on them too. But you'd be surprised how many times I have an avoidant on the call that was the dumper, and then after some time, usually months, they've reached out and now they get rejected, okay? Or the dumpee is not as interested. They're not chasing, they're not pursuing. And now the dumper, the avoidant dumper especially, feels this painful loss all of a sudden. And now it is an overwhelming rush in them of, what have I done? I miss this person, and I really care about them, and maybe the person that was dumped is hurting so much they don't want to talk with them, not realizing that this person had secretly cared about them all along and just wasn't able to express it or show it, or it hadn't hit them hard enough yet for them to realize how much you mean to them. So a lot of times, obviously, they do an indirect, direct approach when they are trying to reconnect with you, but they're scared, right? They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to face rejection, so they look for an excuse to contact you. And At this point, their behavior can be really confusing. Like an indirect director. You're like, are they reaching out because they care about me? Or are they reaching out because of this thing? Well, a lot of times it's because they do care about you and they have cared about you. And they just weren't emotionally healthy enough to express that or explain that throughout the whole situation. Now, I'm not saying every ex does secretly care about you, because some people are really toxic and unhealthy. But for the most part, even if somebody couldn't be in the relationship with you any longer and they felt like they had to end it, doesn't mean that they didn't care about you or that they don't care about you. A lot of times they do secretly care about you. They just can't express it or can't leave themselves vulnerable, or they can't allow you to be in contact with them because they're trying to assert themselves and trying to figure things out. But when you get to a really secure, confident place and you stop pushing people when they're not ready, and you can respect them even when things are difficult, displaying that level of confidence is extremely attractive. And it's a very attractive trait that you can display when they come back. Now, at that point, you have to take things slow. But that's another video, right? The point is that I wanted to get across today is that despite how your ex is acting and behaving, they probably do secretly care about you. And I know that it feels like they don't. But I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen many, many exes over the year be ice cold, mean, hurtful, disconnected, like a different person. But as time goes by and that loss hits them, they do reach out. And they even confess oftentimes, I missed you, I thought about you every single day. And it's nice to hear when it happens, believe me. But you have to respect them enough to leave them alone for them to have the space to express themselves and say those things to you. So, hopefully this video has been helpful to you. I know breakups are very confusing. Of course, you can get our help personally on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. If you're committed to personal growth, check out the Knowledge Workbooks or my Creative Healing course. Both are going to help you truly become confident and secure. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.